Gary, Adrian, it's years that I know you and you're just growing and getting better and better. I want to go back. It started when, Adrian?
We had a daughter that had a passion for people, and she'd bring people home for us to help. When she was killed, we took up her business plan, which was a native plant nursery, and decided to use that to nurture other people's children that didn't have anybody to advocate for them.
And that's what you do, Gary. You advocate for people, many people's children.
Yes, we coach people. The TeWhangai model is about family, it's about adopting people. And when you adopt people, you care about them and you walk with them through their troubles. You never refer anyone. That's the beginning of the journey, is referral. And you walk with them through that referral instead of referring them and forgetting them. And normally the system is about referring and forgetting and passing the problem from one person to the other. These people need someone to stand alongside them, walk with them through their bad times, and we let them go and enjoy their good times, but we're always there for them during their bad times.
Our people create our business.
We restore our environment
For future generations.
A place for opportunities.
We nurture people to nurture the environment.
TeWhangai is belonging,
Identity.
and community. We're about a hand up,
Not a hand up.
TeWhangai is a whānau, not just a job.
daring to dream of a better future.
Education and income.
Striving for success.
For ourselves and future generations.
We become the change we want to see.
How many have passed through your hands?
We've had about 700 corrections people through our gates in the last 5 years, assisting them, and on helping people on work schemes and life and work skills. We've had 250. We've got 40 on site at the moment and 196 into work in our communities.
What's the process, Gary?
TeWhangai relies on the help of Ministry of Social Development with contracts for Task Force Green and the like, and having those contracts allow us to put the labour in and allow them to start running the business for them. So they're the backbone, if you like, of what we do, and from the profits from the nursery it then enables us to include other people in the process through just other referrals. But those referrals are very limited in effect because the cost of running a trust like this is huge and we have to pay people to help them. That part of it's limited, so we rely heavily on social welfare to assist us with contracts.
John, to get corporates and business to support a trust like TeWhangai, that's not an easy task. How do you do that?
Whenever we're out doing a job, you know, we try to act very professional. We're trying to put a strong face of who TeWhangai are, and that goes with the work that we do as well. You know, when we're planting trees, we want to do it up to, you know, a high level. We think that these guys, they can do anything that they put their mind to, and you know, we push them to do that so they can actually move out into that workforce.
Gary, you said a very important thing. You said the system failed them. Explain to me.
We're a great sporting nation, and if the team's failing, we sack the coach. Our people who are unemployed don't have a coach. What they're doing, and if you're in work, you're coached by your employer or your supervisor on a daily basis. The people that we don't have jobs for are left just as a latent workforce, and they just have no coaching. So they're left in a vacuum. They fall between the cracks. And because of that lack of coaching, they lose their self-esteem.
Now tell me, what are you doing here? Why are you here?
Why am I here? I'm here to just train up young fellas in trees, basically just give them some training so when they go outside into the big world, they'll have a few competent skills with them. Things like growing trees from infancy up to falling them, replacing waterways, that type of thing.
It's awesome, but do they want to work when they get here?
Well, it's sort of a difficult question, that. We work on that. We don't drive them too hard. We try and encourage them up more than pressurise the team.
Is that so?
Yeah,
How do
yeah.
you do that?
At the beginning it's a bit of a shock, but yeah, eventually like it just grows on us, like I'm starting to enjoy coming every day, and yeah.
The fact that you are teams, does that have a value? Do you support one another? Do you get along, or do you still fight sometimes?
Oh no, we get along, we have fun. To working around the nurseries, and yeah, you never see any fight up here. We see a happy face on the nurseries.
that you care for them as a person, Adrian. They're not a number, they're not a vote, they're a person for you.
And each person is incredibly important, they're unique, and they all have skills to bring to the whole community and to their families. And that's how we start to make a difference in the whānau or the families. We work with one person, then find the people that are making a difference on that person's life and stopping them get ahead, and we start working with the members of the family. Then we can stop the intergenerational dependency and make a difference for their children.
Now, are people helping you? Where do you get the funds from?
We rely heavily on philanthropic trusts like the Lion Foundation, Sky City, Tyndall Foundation, Trust Waikato, community groups that are prepared to back innovative ideas to change the welfare system or the lives of vulnerable people. Government is very risk adverse, but in saying that, we've been fortunate to have the support of Ministry of Social Development. But that's only a drop in the bucket. They pay a portion of their wages. We have to find the rest of their wages and to pay all the support people. Our community members, our volunteers like Jim, our staff, we only pay them a fraction of what they could be paid in the commercial market, and they dedicate themselves. They have a passion for changing what's existing out in our society.
Jim, you're a retired business person and you got involved in TeWhangai Trust. Why?
The motivation was not wanting necessarily to get back into a job that provided a financial return, but having met the Daltons here at TeWhangai provided me with, I feel, what I was looking for.
You see the change in these young people. What does it do to you? Is it giving you that purpose that you were looking for?
Well, it's a challenge. Certainly is a challenge, but it's recognising the potential that these people do have, and it's quite often potential that they don't even realise that they possess. The challenge for me has been to put together programs that we use here in a way that provide them with the necessary skill and confidence to proceed back into mainstream communities.
We talk about people here, but they're faceless for me. Who are they?
The members of our community ranging from 15 to 62 years of age. They're people that are vulnerable, that have addictions, or that have got on the wrong side of the law. We did a trial with the police and the youth courts and the community, and we took the highest recidivist offenders in our community last strike, and they would have gone to prison. 73% of those youth never re-offended after being at TeWhangai for 6 months.
I see TeWhangai as a very important strategic partnership that we're going to develop with the police in the future to reduce our crime rates. The New Zealand Police has what we call a prevention first strategy under the new policing excellence model, and the objectives of that is threefold. One is to reduce offending rates by 19%. Two is to reduce prosecutions going through the justice system by 13%, and to increase our preventative activities by 4% by 2015. I see what TeWhangai does here as contributing to all three of those categories.
What do they do here, Gary?
They reassess their lives in a sense. There's a new opportunity for them here to take charge of other people, to take control of themselves and the people around them. Whāngai is to adopt and to nurture, and they adopt and nurture each other, and it's the same as they do in the gangs. The gangs just fill a gap that society has left wide open. That's the only reason they exist. So in a sense we do the same here as the gangs. They take care of one another, both here and at home. With our drug rehabilitation, it's about forming a group of people who want to change, and then they become a separate group, and they're not exposed then to that pressure. And that pressure is real for our kids. It's huge. So they have to reassess, how to manage the addictions that they're born with. They can't change it. They have to be able to manage it. And learning to manage it is a huge advantage for them. And once they take control of that, they have control of their future.
We have P here, and it stands for plants.
plants around waterways. So if you want some real buzz, and it's not going to cost your wallet, come in the nurseries. And that's what we're training here, is these guys to become nursery managers.
We're just like trees really, eh? Growing more confident, and as the trees grow really.
So it's made me want to get a job, it's made me want to get out there into the big world and just go at it.
Find a job after this.
Do you have a drug and rehabilitation program that they must abide by, or how do you get them to drop it?
We have a drug policy, and we have drug testing, and then we say, okay, this is the goal, and we get them to buy the policy, and they create the policy amongst themselves, discuss as a group what are we going to do for our policy, how are we going to implement it, and what are the consequences for non-performance. And they as a team decide, and they as a team decide how they are going to help each other and walk through it. They have to create a situation so TeWhangai is a viable enterprise to take on another group to walk in their footsteps. So they create the legacy for the next group and the next opportunities, and they take huge pride.
You know, when they go home, they can tell their mates, oh, you know, I can't do that, otherwise I'm going to lose my job. And it gives them the way out, I think, and it inspires them.
We grow people and they grow our business. You know, they have the ability to make the change. They just need the environment in which to make that change and the support to do it. So we see our job as easy. We work with wonderful, wonderful people, and it's a pleasure.
And we meet incredible people on the journey.
Every time you're going past a carry tree, and you see a little bit of growth, it just brings life to everybody, doesn't it? Just like these men here. They're going to grow up just like that, but first they need the skill. And the thing is, if more places are set up like this, we'll be able to help a lot more.
It doesn't matter that they've, you know, had a few hard times and whatnot, they're pulling themselves out through the other end of it.
We talk about heading down roads and then having to do a U-turn and get all the way back up to the beginning again before you can start down another road. And we try and encourage them to pick their destinations rather than just taking the first road that they come to.
I grew up on the streets of South Auckland. As a child, I ran away from home, a time where I should have been going to school. When I first met Adrian and Gary, I was on a work experience course for WINS. It's not been since I was a little child that I've actually sat down in the country and met people who foster aroha. Just love not just for people but for the environment, for the plants. One of the most unforgettable things I've ever done was to put a plant in the ground. 3 months later, have it for dinner.
We have an opportunity to change the way our society looks at people who are less fortunate than ourselves. And it takes a village to raise a child. They are our children, and we all have a collective responsibility.
That for me is a community spirit. That for me is creating an environment where miracles can take place.